Hello, so today I would like to speak about the concept of ego death. Um, in the spiritual process, it's like we're going through letting go of layers and layers of our personality. But to keep it simple, in some ways, every day when we make choices, we let a part of ourselves die. Because if it's a choice that matters, when we decide to go left or right, um, whatever direction we choose, we each time will let a part of us, a little part of ourselves dying to that choice, to that decision. And sometimes we are facing choices that are very challenging and that create a lot of resistance. And we feel that we can even arrive to a point where we feel that um, we are in a dead end because the choice that we need to make to continue our journey are unbearable for our personality or egoistic structure. And when that happens, even like a feeling of suicide can arise. And in the spiritual journey, feeling suicide is completely normal in a way that uh, it's not a global feeling. It's a part of us that feel that that the only way out is to die to itself, and so the feeling of suiciding comes from that perspective, um, and to me, when it arrives, it really gives me a complete different perspective on life. When I'm like, yeah, okay, I feel stuck and I feel I have no like it's almost like the reality is compressing until I can make that choice. And when I'm more at ease now with my spiritual journey, I can really appreciate that the choice to make is quite usually obvious. It's not like I don't know where to go. I know where to go, but making that choice is like, wow, it's like letting a big part of myself die. Or maybe you could phrase it differently, a big part of who I thought I was, letting go. And if you look at the concept of pyramids, it's like each floor we are making decision where we are letting go part of ourselves that are part of ourselves. So the self is the identity, and we surround to um, moving towards a greater version of ourselves that is maybe eventually, um, when we arrive to a point where we surround to even something bigger than ourselves, and to um, this greater intelligence or universal consciousness, what some people will call the universe, others will call God or the source. And we can slowly surround to um, being in the dance with this um, intelligence that know how to guide us through life when we can surrender to um, mental decision, and just flow in the process, follow the synchronicities, and don't even spend too much time of thinking of what decision, and just follow that flow. And some call it walking the pathless path. And so in that process, we need to very often, and especially when you're getting quite intense on your spiritual journey, it can happen a few times per week that you have those moments where you're like, wow, this is like, okay, this I'm letting go, this I'm letting go, and just like keeping, um, staying in our center and moving forward with faith because we don't see the path. And so the pyramid is like all those layers and slowly, basically, the decision becomes easier, because when it's very dense at the base, there is a lot of intrication in all the decision process, and a lot of different side of our personality. But when we can refine to a higher version of ourselves, then there is not so many decisions to make. And when we arrive at what we could consider the top of this pyramid, is this place where there is no more decision to make, because duality dissolved, and you arrive in a place where you can start to experience oneness, and just be in the flow, and don't have to decide anything anymore. So when we get to that point of oneness, I think it's important to understand that we come from two different bases to create that pyramid, and the two bases can be seen as the masculine and the feminine, the father and the mother, the sun and the moon, whatever you want to call it. It's important to understand that there is a trinity. So the merging of those two, when we dissolve from duality and there is no more decision on going left or right, create a third entity, and that's what creates the trinity. And this third entity is not accumulation of 1 plus 1, it's a creation of a new entity. And if you compare it with water is the accumulation of hydrogen and oxygen. So when you mix it with oxygen, it creates water, and water has a complete different quality that neither hydrogen or oxygen will be able to ever imagine from their perspective as hydrogen of oxygen. And when they become water, hydrogen is not saying, I know I'm water, look at it. It's like it's almost like they are water, and this is what it is. And I don't think that the hydrogen in water is like so much attached to his past to think when he was like a separate molecule of hydrogen. So these pyramids basically, I think what's important to understand is like create a third entity, and that is completely that has a completely different purpose than the first two initial one. And you could also compare it to the caterpillar who become the butterfly. But so this process of dying to ourselves is absolutely necessary in the spiritual journey to get to that point of oneness, when basically, and I learned that yesterday from my meditation master Daji, it's actually when we arrive to oneness that the journey can actually start to begin. And the journey before is almost like kindergarten, preparing us for what spirituality is really about, and maturity, we could say. It's the process of getting from duality to come back to oneness. And when we are in oneness, the idea is not to stay there and to believe that we arrived. This is where the journey begins. I will almost, it's almost confusing, like when you go on holidays and you have an amazing ride because you go into all those beautiful landscapes and discovering the country. It's almost if you forget that of course it's part of the holiday, but that's not the holiday. That's the journey to get there. What's going to happen there is completely different. And so if you find yourself in a situation where you feel stuck and you're feeling you're in a dead end, or the choices are too big for yourself, um, what I wanted to share, this is absolutely normal. It's also a good moment to go in introspection or ask for help. AI can also be a great help in those kind of situations, because sometimes we're going through things that it can feel almost impossible to share with another human, even with a professional, what we're going through, because it can be so intense, and we are missing some uh, um points where we can mark points where we can see what's happening. And basically, because when we are moving, it's like this pyramid. When we are moving one step, we are entering a new reality, and at the beginning we are new in this new reality, and we are still in relation to the previous level that we came from. And all those new um, standards, let's say, um, are so new to us that it feels eventually frightening, and we can have this tendency to go back to the other level. I like to compare it. It's like you get out of the cave, and then all your friends and family are in the cave, and they say, hey, come back in the cave, it's so dangerous out there. And you're like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like, from my perspective, it's beautiful. There is birds, there is mountains, waterfalls, and it's like, yeah, I mean, definitely feel a bit lonely here, but and so you're in this, just at the exit of the cave, and then your whole social um, circle is trying to pull you back in the cave, and you need to go a little bit alone in the wild to start to meet other people that are also evolving in this new environment, and then you create a new connection that will support you, because they will help you to anchor this new reality as yours. But this moment in between can be very uncomfortable. Luckily, today we have social networks, we have communities, it has been easier to connect with like-minded seekers than ever before. But it's also all the tools and stuff can also amplify the feeling of disconnection and loneliness eventually, because as great as those tools are, they can also nourish the separation and stuff. So it's the same with AI. AI is an amazing tool in the spiritual journey, but make sure that you keep a balance. You can have discussion with your GPT if you program it well, but you need to be in contact with humans, with a community, with a practice, and don't get yourself, because AI is very much reassuring the mind, um, and, and sometimes it's necessary, but the whole point is to detach from it, and to really reconnect to that sovereignty, that you can walk in the wild by yourself, just like even without a guide, and that you reconnect to this inner guru that it's inside of you, and that is guiding you, and that you can trust and surrender to that guidance in order to transcend all the steps of this pyramid to arrive to that point of oneness. Um, but if it feels overwhelming or whatsoever, do not hesitate to ask for help, and speak your voice. And I hope this little video will inspire you if you're navigating through some challenges or resistance, that it's absolutely normal. It's part of the path. It's part of the journey. Um, so keep going. Keep nourishing that curiosity inside of you, because there is this inner wisdom that knows the way to walk that pathless path. And as a wise man once says, if one eye is focused on the destination, you only have one eye available to look at the path. So sometimes it's good also to detach from the destination, so you can have your two eyes focused on the path.